Hey guys, welcome back again to my YouTube channel. So today's video will be different as usual as always, and I think this will be the first time I'll be talking about this country on my YouTube channel. Other times I've talked about this country, I've just mentioned it, like I've just made a reference to it, like e.g. New Zealand and everything. So guys, today we'll be talking about, okay, that one was Netherlands, New Zealand. And this New Zealand is actually a New Zealand visa, not like really a New Zealand visa. So it was actually like an old visa, it was converted into new. You know, I've always told you guys on this channel that after the COVID thing happened, so many countries, they are just bringing different means. They are just changing their visa anyhow because they don't know how to talk to us direct, because most of these countries, they're actually facing shortage. You know, aside Asia and Africa, it's only in Asia and Africa that we have higher birth rates. That man just confirmed it that yes, we have higher birth rate because we just do bomb for Asia and Africa. But then in all this obodo imbo, they don't do the bomb picking like that, so they have shortage of labor, and that's why they keep needing immigrants. So in that view, they just keep bringing so many visa visa this, visa that. So when they say that people know to do this one, they will not say they will revise it and try to reduce the requirements because they feel like the requirement is too high. Me, I've tell you that all this country that is in Shakara, when the thing have knocked them, they will be begging us to come. There was one time that UK was even begging for truck drivers that free visa, that we should just become. Don't worry, let them to be doing their Shakara, because those countries, they don't give birth to enough children like we give birth. You can see one person in Nigeria, they can give birth to 12 children, but outside the country, they give birth to 1 or 2, and one can be more people. I know these that are children, all these Oyinbo people, they cannot work like us. And that will bring me to the type of job you can get in this New Zealand visa. And aside New Zealand visa generally, and I used to tell people, if you want to target job, don't can target all those jobs that you stay in the office and go and be speaking space, you will not get the job, because all those jobs is for their citizens. They will not employ you. So the type of job that you can get, if you know you really want to migrate, there are 3 types of job that you should target. What are these jobs? Dirty job. Number 1 is dirty job, because they feel like the citizen is too you know, to do the job. It's okay, leave it for us, as long as the pay is fine, we will do the job. So if you know you want to jackpa low to at low dodo, you should target what? Dirty job. All those dirty jobs that you know that I want to see, and they actually pay well, depending on the contract. Actually, they actually pay well. So the next one you should target is heavy duty job. You see how this their Oyinbo pikin, how this the Oyinbo children, what can they carry? So it's horse that we can carry. You know, even the laziest person in Nigeria is stronger than the strongest person there. You know, see Anthony Joshua, the way he's just winning them up and they don't have strength, because the only thing they eat is salad, coffee. They think concerning coffee in Nigeria, when we say want to take coffee, that coffee, the kind milk we go get, we will eat fufu, we eat eba, better swallow. We say you dey whine me. So when it comes to heavy duty job, those targets that one, that's the ones that you can easily get, that nobody will drag with you, nobody is saying no plenty, unfortunately. Then another one that you can easily get again is highly skilled. Like I told you that these are Oyinbo people. Please let me off this AC, it's getting too cold. It's not as if it's getting too cold. No, I'm just thinking about my NEPA bills. I just wanted the room to just have cold atmosphere. So as I was saying, so another type of job that you can actually get easily outside the country is highly skilled job. This one, like I've explained, that these Oyinbo people, you know, their government have made life so easy for them, made life so comfortable for them. So sometimes they don't really feel the need to hustle, to work. And like I used to say that if all these abroad countries, if these abroad countries are actually Nigeria, right, there will not be any immigrants in our country, because we'll take up all the jobs, right? And that's why we are actually moving there. So highly skilled, sometimes even when you get there, those ones there, I don't know, you know, when life is too comfortable for you, just like in Nigeria, so when you see a rich man picking versus a poor man picking, you always see that this thing is different, because a rich man picking will be like, my father has the money, he has all the luxury. You notice, if you've been in school, most rich man picking, they don't used to know book, they don't used to take life. I said most, don't come for me, They don't used to know because they feel like my father has everything he has everything he wants. So what is my own in this is them gagalomaya omo pata. Same with all these people outside the country, because they I know most of these countries, they give them benefits, they give them all these benefits, clinical, they have life at their ease. Yeah, and that's why if you actually check percentage of interracial marriage, I'm actually deviating, but let me try to explain to you, because so that you understand the basis. Okay, when you check percentage of this interracial marriage, when you see a Nigerian, a black person married to a white person, if you go and check it, when you to shudesha coco, that man, the white person is not working. Forget what they will come and show you on media. It's the woman, it's the black woman that is working. Yes, most of them. Now you say, because I built this channel 98%, let's just use it like that. 98% of them, they are not what? They are not working. Yes, of all those white people, they are not working, because the life that they come to very stressless life that they came to enjoy, because that's how they were groomed. That's why they grew up. So that's why it's hard for you see that's why Nigerian men, they feel intimidated when they see a woman that has money, because they feel like, you know, the way they train Nigerian men, that is the man that provide. Most Nigerian men will still have some gigolo. Most Nigerians, they used to feel intimidated with a woman if a woman has money than them, because they feel like the normal thing is a man should have money than them and everything. That one will ginger them to work out. But you see, these Oyinbo people, these Oyinbo men, once they see a black girl that has money, like, they are not working. And aside that they are not working, they are not even going to help you with house chores. They will not even help you with anything. They are just to sleep and wake up, and they are so controlling. I made a video on that. They are so controlling. You people can argue with me, but me, I'm sure telling you. I made that video, but I've not posted it. It's still on private. I was like, things you should look out for before you buy me a white space, and that's what I'm telling you. So sometimes when you actually feel like, how come there are so many jobs abroad? How come there is shortage? How come there is this? That is the reason. No, the way their system raised them. Their system raised them in a way that no need to hustle. Like life is sweet. Life is critical. Life is so something. And that's why I'm making on that video about importance of actually raising your child in Nigeria. I know Nigeria, or in Africa. I know Nigeria is this and everything, but sometimes it's good to, if you give birth to your child outside the country, it's good to bring them back to Nigeria or Africa to actually train them in a way. Sometimes, and that's why when even other Africans, once they see Nigerians, they feel intimidated. No, not lie. No, let's not lie. Other Africans, if you've been outside the country before, you know what I'm talking about. Other Africans, when they see Nigerian in the system, somehow they feel intimidated, because now us life don't knock pass. At least other African countries like Ghana now, their government is still okay. Them, they even still have lights. We will not get lights. We just the also lie. We are just living on the grace of God. Like, so when you now find yourself outside the country, that's why most Nigerians that actually plan themselves very well before they actually travel, they actually used to thrive. They thrive. Yeah, they actually used to thrive. So it's important when you give birth outside the country. Maybe if the child has used their primary school, I be their secondary, one is important. Is part of the regulatory, because staying in Nigeria last one is common sense, because you can hardly see a Nigerian that is abroad that does not have common sense, and that's why people are always scared of us to give us job, because they'll be like, this girl, this Nigerian. Once they hear Nigerian, the only thing they do, I don't want to scam them, because our brain is always working 24/7. So training your child in Nigeria is actually important. It's part of survivor life skill. But many of you will not agree. You say, there is no clinical. Let's not even talk about that one. Let's not. I shall tell you what I think, because all these Oyinbo people, I've seen them. I don't know if I've met with them. Most times they don't really used to have okpolo like that. There is some Yoruba. If you wear Benye, you know what I'm saying. They will say, and that's why it's easy for the blacks to scam them, because sometimes when you ask, how did you meet this person? You know, a typical Nigerian girl, somebody cannot scam me. You know when somebody want to scam. Though some people still fall for it though. Those ones, they are not Nigerians. We dash them to other African countries. And that's why it's easy for all these people, black people, to scam them, because small whining, they will fall for it. I tell you, that's why living in Nigeria, I be living in Lagos, is a survival skill. It's part of it. Like they used to say, if you no fit sharp for Lagos, you no fit sharp for anywhere. So if you no fit sharp for Nigeria, you no fit sharp again for your life. You get? So that is what I'm saying, and that's why we have a lot of job shortage job outside the country, because the type of citizens that they have, they make life this thing for them. They have access to whatever they used to give them. They used to give them incentive, they used to give them this one, and they have all this, the employee rights, they shall have this thing. So if you want to travel outside the country and you're looking for what, the best work to target are dirty jobs, heavy jobs, and highly skilled jobs. Highly skilled, and in that way nobody's going to drag it with you, because nobody's competing with you. Nobody wants to do dirty job with you. And highly skilled, what I mean is, those people, they used to read though, they used to study, but it's going to be like 1 in a million. Most times when you get to the hospital, when you see surgeons, when you see doctors and everything, most times, even in Canada or anything, there are all these, they're always like few compared to this thing. So all those people that you see, they are mostly from other countries, maybe like Asian doctors, Indian doctor, from any other nationality like that. And that's what I'm telling you people. So even when you get outside the country, because now when they are saying there is shortage occupation is for nurses, for example, for nurses to we are anyhow in Nigeria, that they are having shortage. Assuming that place was Nigeria, there will not be shortage now, because everybody will go down study nurse. In fact, some of us in Nigeria we have like TV qualifications. Some of you are nurses, some of you are medical. We have so many qualifications. You would have switched, but those ones, the life is so sweet for them. They only just to sit down and look for somebody that will just come and be sweeting their life. And that's why I'm telling you now. So easiest job for you to get is just dirty job. All those jobs that involves you doing and this thing, they cannot do it. Next one is heavy job. They don't want they know the shop has burger, salad, and everything. It's with the host too. Then the last one is highly skilled job. So once you know that OT now, OT were important, and that's it. So now we're talking about New Zealand. So why do you actually feel like okay, just the things about New Zealand? So why I actually like this country, I actually feel like it's a country of consideration, is the fact about is the fact about the closeness to New Australia. Yeah, so aside the geographical location closeness, like this is Australia, this is New Zealand, I like they're so close. In fact, you can use leg and cross, you know what I mean, in literally saying, and you can use leg and check it. It's just like Lagos and Ibadan, like they are so close together geographically. And aside that, they have there are some countries that they have bilateral agreements, and even at that they see distinction, just like UK and Nigeria, we have bilateral agreement. I be we're in the Commonwealth this thing, but sometimes UK come and judge Nigeria, but UK now they do like this, we be party now. Even Nigeria and Ghana, we have bilateral agreement, but sometimes Ghana come and judge Nigeria, Ghana now if they do like this, people will be partying now, you know, those kind of. But you see New Zealand and Australia, they've been in the existence, they are like brothers. In fact, not like they are brothers and sisters, the same bilateral agreement. So if you do it New Zealand exam, for example, if you're a highly skilled person, you're working in New Zealand, you can just cross easily to Australia without necessarily writing the exam. The only thing you just maybe equivalent, what you will do, you do not even reach stand show. You know, for example, like Nigerian to UK, now if you are crossing as a nurse, or this one, they will make you write the exam, make you do this one, make you Australia and New Zealand is not like that. So even if you find yourself you're qualified in New Zealand, you can cross easily to Australia and work as still the same equivalent. There is no hiato. The only small hiato is because Australia is 100% English speaking country, while New Zealand is actually English speaking country mixed with language countries, and the language they actually speak there is Saomatori. Sorry, I'll be typing it on the screen. The language they actually speak Tiovel Maori. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing it wrong, but I'll type it on the screen. That's the language they actually speak in New Zealand. Then another common language that is actually common in New Zealand is sign language. So when you actually get to New Zealand, surprisingly, they have a lot of population that they make use of sign languages very, very well. So that's one thing you should learn how to use, because they actually have a lot of people with auditory impairment. In layman's language, they have a lot of deaf people there. But I was really surprised. So that sign language, you know, in Nigeria, you hardly come across a deaf person. Hardly. come across a deaf, in fact in a year you may not come across a deaf person in Nigeria, even outside the country. I know they are there, right? But in New Zealand it's so rampant. So the government actually made it compulsory for you to actually learn the sign language, because you can meet them as bus conductor. Is there bus conductor? Let me just say, you can meet them in your everyday life. I know outside the country they don't actually discriminate or segregate between this one has physical challenge, this one has this one has that. They don't do that. So you can find them working in the mall, find them working there. So it is more like a compulsory criteria for you to actually learn the sign language. So invariably New Zealand, they actually speak 3 language, which is the Saori, Kiniko, English, and then the sign language. So that's the only difference between Austria and New Zealand. So if you're moving from New Zealand to Australia, if you're moving from New Zealand to Australia, you don't have any issue because you're going to be speaking English. But if you're moving from Australia to New Zealand, you have to learn the sign language, and there are some occupations that they actually mandatory for you to learn the Saotori language, depending on where you're working. Like health, like I saw some health courses, health professions that you have to learn that language within 1 year of coming to New Zealand. So just for you to have an idea. But in reality, if you get to New Zealand, you don't like it, you can actually easily cross to Australia without anybody asking you any question, without anybody asking you, do you have right to work and live? No, without anybody asking you any question. You can just move. So then another thing is, okay, so this new visa is actually called the New Zealand Talent Visa. It actually replaced the essential skilled work visa or long-term shortage. It shall replace the visa. So now, but then as usual, there's always a requirement, right? There's also a requirement. So so what are the requirements? The first requirement is, when you actually want to get this visa, the first thing is you have to get a job. Yeah, that's the first thing, and I'm telling you something. That's the first thing for you to get the job. So after getting a job, then you make sure the job is from a licensed sponsor or accredited sponsor. So I'll put in a link on the screen now where you can get a licensed sponsor. But you know, I used to tell you that when anything come out, any immigration this thing come out, just wait for me to come and weigh in. You know, that's how they used to say. They'll say licensed sponsor, or accredited sponsor. Not be all accredited sponsor be accredited sponsor. There's a difference between accredited sponsor and sponsor that they are ready to hire you as a foreigner. And there's another difference between sponsor that is ready to hire you as a foreigner and sponsor that is ready to hire you as a black person. Aside that, there's another difference between the person that is ready to hire you as a foreigner, as a black person, and a sponsor that is ready to hire you as a black person from a red list country like Nigeria, like Ghana, like Zimbabwe. So you see that there are different types of sponsor. So when I tell you this is the government list of accredited sponsor, just know that the ones that are going to sponsor you, if you have 1,000 lists, the one that are going to sponsor you like maybe 10 or 15. You already depending on kidney. So I'll put in the link on the screen now. You go and tell you see the list from A to kidney. Trust me, it is not all of them. That's when they'll start telling you, unfortunately, we want somebody that has right and left to work in New Zealand. We have somebody that have clinical is everywhere. But I'll shall put the link. Maybe you can start applying to start doing this thing. I'm making another video like research about companies that they are ready to sponsor you regardless of your location. You know, that's how I used to do in all my videos. I'll give you the link to the general government website where they said it to. But in reality, I'll go and make another video and go and see the one that is ready, because it's not just to have the list. You just go to, you shall be calculating, unfortunately. So make sure you stay subscribed. I'll put in the link now. Then subsequently I'll make videos about the ones that are ready, that regardless of whether you're black, whether you're pink, whether you're yellow, whether you're this thing, as long as you have the necessary this thing. So the first requirement is getting a job, and second requirement is getting a job from accredited employer. And then the next requirement is your job has to be a full-time, not part-time. It has to be 100% full-time job. Then the fourth requirement is the offer has to be valid for at least 24 months. Okay, wait, you at least 24 months. That's 2 years upward. So when you're signing your contract, so that means you look for a job that will sign you for at least 24 months. So the fifth one is you should be less than 55 years old. Sadly, and that's why UK will come to play here, because UK is an equal opportunity employer. They don't use to segregate by age, but you see New Zealand and Australia, them they like age thing. But anyways, I'll not really say New Zealand and Australia are because this one is like an immigration pathway, because they will calculate it based on score. And when it comes to calculating things based on score like that, they like to use all those flimsy things just to reduce, just like Canada PR, Canada Kini. But at least Canada PR, they will say if you are between age of Kini, you have this amount. If you are between, but the thing is, if you go normally to New Zealand, you can get a job even if you are more than 55. But then because this one is kind of point based, they will say okay, 2 mark, 3 mark, and all of that. So they still try itself. Other countries, I've seen a country that say if you are more than 30, don't come. Who want to come before? Duh. So the fourth requirement that people lost count is you should be less than 55 years of age. And then the next one is you should have a minimum pay. A minimum pay at least 79,560 New Zealand dollar per year. 79,560 New Zealand dollar per year. So I tell you, add your calculator, because we are going to be doing a calculation. You know, as usual, I like to check if something is realistic or not, because now people might be like 79 is a whole lot of money. We're going to calculate it. So the next on my list did I talk about is the minimum you have to work is 40 hours per week. You know, I talked about full time. You have to work full time, and in that full time it has to be 40 hours minimum. Okay, we do 40 hours per week. Okay, now let's do calculation. Let's see if this 79,560 New Zealand dollar is achievable or not, or you have to stress yourself. Let's calculate it. So in that view, we're going to be talking about minimum wage. Minimum wage for New Zealand is what? As at now that I'm making this video, which is June, July, right? Their minimum wage is 21.50 New Zealand dollar. So the currency of New Zealand is New Zealand dollar. So their current minimum wage is 21.50 New Zealand dollar. So if you convert 21.50 New Zealand dollars to US dollars, let's just convert it to US dollars so that everybody can understand. So that means that minimum wage in New Zealand currently now is $13. What's that? $13.86. That's their current minimum wage. Yes, I know I've told you guys that New Zealand is one of those countries that pay very high for their minimum wage. Yeah, I think the first country is Australia, then the next country is New Zealand. Those two countries, they pay very high for their minimum wage. Yeah, so after Australia, the next one is, can you say very high it is? So their hourly pay, not hourly, minimum wage. Minimum wage means that's the minimum somebody can pay as long as you're working legally. Whether you carry this thing from this thing to this, whether you did this thing, whether you shake this thing, minimum pay is 13.86 US dollars. That's the minimum, right? So when they say minimum, of course you can way higher than that, and we have some jobs that they have minimum that they should pay you above minimum wage. Just like in Nigeria, we have minimum wage of 30,000 naira per occupation, but then that's like the starting salary. We have some people that maybe for nurses now their minimum wage is 45,000 naira. For engineers now their minimum wage is 50,000 naira upwards. So when they say minimum wage, that's the base. That one does not mean that that's where they will start paying you from. But then let's make our calculations based on that. Let's see if this is achievable or they are just whining us. So when is September 1st 2022, their minimum wage will actually increase from 21.5 New Zealand dollars to 23.65 New Zealand dollars. And in that view, this pay is high. So when you convert it to dollars, the new minimum wage from September, that will be 15.25 US dollars per hour. 15.25 US dollars per hour from September 1st 2022, and we are in July, August, September, less than Jesus, oh God. But then let's leave the new minimum wage that they did. Let's calculate based on the old one. You know that me, I like using what is realistic or not. Let's use the old one. Let's do as if we don't know about the new one. The old one, which is 13.86. So this visa actually require you to actually work 40 hours per week, right? So now let's now do it. You know that's the maximum. Sorry, that's the minimum you can work per week. 40 hours per week. Shebi. So how many weeks is in 1 year? We have 52 weeks in 1 year. So let's now say that you decide to stick to the rules. You work just 40 hours per week. No extra shift, no extra distance, just following your contracts, following your visa rule. 40 hours per week. And then we have 52 weeks in a year. And then our minimum wage is how much? 21.50. So now let's now multiply it. So if you work 1 week, that's 40 hours. 40 hours times minimum wage, which is 21.50, right? Then multiplied by 52 weeks in a year. How much did you get? 44,720 New Zealand dollars. If you are working, this is if you're working just 40 hours per week. You're working 40 hours per week, no extra shifts, no extra anything, right? And then you're calculating based on their old minimum wage, which is 21.50 New Zealand dollars. So if you work like that throughout the year, you're going to earn 44,720 New Zealand dollars. But then this visa requires you to have at least a minimum pay of 79,560 per year. So that if you remove 79,560 New Zealand dollar per year from 44,720, how much is it remaining? That is 34,840 New Zealand dollar for you to complete your this thing without shift, right? Whereas if you are to calculate it with the September on, 52 weeks in a year times 23.65 New Zealand dollars times 40, that is 49,192 New Zealand dollars. Then if you remove it from the minimum requirement of 79,560, you'll be left to complete it with 30,386 New Zealand dollars. So in that view, am I confusing? Do you guys understand what I'm trying to calculate? Like, if you work just based on the minimum wage, you do not just based on the minimum wage, that's what I'm saying. If you work based on the minimum wage, and you work just the normal 40 hours per week, and then you work for like that for 1 year with the minimum wage, if you are using the old one, you have 44,720. Then if you are working with the new minimum wage, you have 49,190. So out of the two minimum wage, the extra you need to actually make it up to 79,560 is between 30,000 to 34,000 New Zealand dollars. 30,000 for the new minimum wage, and then 34,000 for the old minimum wage. I hope you understand that. But somehow let's try to focus on the new minimum wage, because we're already in July, August, September, and of course you can always negotiate in advance for that. So, and when it comes to new visa, it's not as if you are going next week before you apply for job, before they do interview, before they get September have passed. So I'm just telling you in advance, so you need 30,368 New Zealand dollar. So if you divide that by the minimum wage, 30,000. I hope you guys understand this my calculation. I'm not good with maths here. I'm just trying to make it divided by the new minimum wage, 23.65. Let me use my calculator. If you have been paid the basic pay, so that's 30,368. Then when you divide it by, you need extra to complete it to 79,560, right? So now when you now the one that is remaining to complete it, let's now divide it by the minimum wage to know how many hours extra you need to add to that of 40 hours per week to make up to 79,560. Hey, this one is going to be mathematics class, hold your calculator, because You people know that on this channel we used to calculate and see what is realistic or not. If it's not realistic, let's just stop the video now. So 30,368 divided by 23.65, right? That one will give you 1,284 hours. So how I got 1,284 hours is because the remaining change that is supposed to make that 79,560, we now divided it by the minimum wage. So we got 1,284 hours. So that 1,284 hours, we are going to divide it by 40 hours because you're working 40 hours per week. So divided by 40 hours, then that will get 32 weeks. So that means after work, that means 32 weeks, right? So in that view, we're supposed to do 52 divided by 42. Maths class in the mood. That's like, okay. Divided by 40 hours, right? So that's 32 extra weeks. So that means you have to work like 32 extra week. 52 plus 32. 52 plus 32. That is 84 weeks to make up 79,560 New Zealand dollar per year if you're going by the minimum pay, no increment. But then we have just 52 weeks in a year. So how do you compress 84 weeks? Which kind of mathematics with this one? So how do you compress 84 weeks to 52 weeks? Oh my goodness. So now we're trying to see if this is achievable or not. It didn't work for that math, you. But I'm just trying to see. Okay. So now we've seen 84 weeks, right? How do you compress 84 weeks to 1 year that you'll be able to work 40 to make up the pay? So now what we're going to do is, I don't even know what we're going to do. I know Sabi math. Okay. So that we're going to do. So that means instead of working 40 hours per week, right? So what you're going to do is 52 divided by 32. Yeah, that's what we're going to be doing. Then we add it to 40. Maths, you cannot confuse me. 52 divided by 32. That's like 1 carry what? Carry 10. 32 into, that's like 1.1. So that's more like, let's just say you work 42 hours per week. Because if you divide 52 divided by 32, right, that would be 1 point something something. But then let's try approximate it. Let's just say 2. So when you add 2 to each hour, remember you still have paid leave, but let's try do it like that. So let's say you work 42 hours per week. 42 hours per week. So that would be 52 weeks in a year. Please, when I calculate this thing, let it give us 79,560 in Jesus' name. Don't let me disgrace my secondary school maths teacher. So 52 weeks. Getting confused. 52 weeks in a year times the new minimum wage, 23.65, then times your new hours of working, 42 hours per week, right? So how many did you get? Let's use calculator. So guys, the calculation is wrong, but then I had to do it off camera. You know, sometimes when you prepare topic, when you're talking, you feel like, okay, this is what you talk about, but then when you're talking, you feel like, oh, there's a need to explain this. So I didn't actually prepare. So I've just done it off camera, so we will confuse each other. So the thing is, the visa actually requires you to actually work 40 hours per week, right? So if you're going with the normal minimum pay, if you're to work 40 hours per week, you have to work at least 65 hours per week. So in that view, 52 weeks in a year multiplied by the new minimum wage, which is 23.65 times 42, right? You will get 79 something, almost equal. Give it to your boss, mathematician. So now, is it realistic or not? Yes, it is realistic. So now you have two options: either to actually look for a job that will make you take enough shifts at least, but I don't know the maximum you can take per week, because I know they used to have labor law that maybe you cannot work more than something per week, depending on the department you are or their general labor law. So you have to look for a job that can make you work at least 65 hours per week, and that's like 65 divided by 24 hours, that's like 48. 48 plus 24. Even mathematics will allow 48 plus 24. This one. 2 carry 1, 672. That's almost like 2.5 days. Yeah, it's actually possible. That's, you've not exceeded the maximum. Yeah, because you will split it ahead. So you have two options: either to actually look for a job that will make you work up to 65 hours per week, like you can take up enough shifts. So in that view, yeah, take up enough shifts. That's if you're going with the minimum wage. If they're paying you minimum wage, and then the next option is to actually look for a job that actually high paying job, high skilled job. Yeah, so that your salary, I've seen some jobs, I'll be making separate videos on that, like jobs that are more than 80,000 New Zealand dollar. There are so many jobs like that. Naturally, they're just more than that. So imagine when you had extra shifts. So I'm giving you two options just in case your job you get as it be. You know, there are some jobs that are just basic job, they'll pay you minimum pay, so that means you have to work more. Whereas there are some jobs that maybe they are just like I've explained, type of job you can get 30 job, every job, or high skill job. In that view, you have bulky money to collect. So that one, the second option is to look for a job that will actually pay you high, like from 80,000 New Zealand dollars above. Just like I explained that in Nigeria, our minimum wage is 30,000 naira. But then we have organizations that they'll pay you more depending on your experience, depending on your skills, depending on this thing. So just look for people that will pay you more. So either you look for the one that will make you take extra shifts, that there are a lot of extra shifts, and they will include it in your contract to make your money to be equivalent to 79,000 New Zealand dollars, or just look for a job that is naturally more than 80,000. In that view, that's to be extremely high skill. Like I told you, stay subscribed, because there are some jobs you can get. After this one, I'll be shooting the video, so make sure you stay subscribed. I'll be listing the jobs for you. So I hope you understand that. So now, can you now see, is this actually achievable or not? Of course it's achievable, but then you have two ways you need to achieve it. Either you go like this or you go like this, and that's what I've told you. And then the third one is waiting for me to bring list of employers that can recruit. But if you're highly skilled, you can use the link I've put there to look for accredited employers, because they don't have option. If you're highly skilled, especially in this medical IT sector, you don't have a. But if you're normal basic thing, but it still do not mean and then the next requirements that you actually need is no English requirement. IELTS, Clinicum, you don't need it. No English requirement. The next one is police character certificate. Yeah, anything involving work visa, you need your police certificate. And then the next one on this is health. Most times you need health medical certificate to check for drugs, to check for alcohol. So if you know you smoke, you drink, start quitting it now. But I think medically it takes up to 6 months for your liver or your lungs to get cleansed. Why are you drinking? But then I want that one disadvantage about this, that and then okay, the benefit about this is after 2 years you can actually apply for your PR. Yeah, that's the sweet juicy benefit about this visa. After 2 years you can apply for your PR. But this thing I don't like about this is because you can't come with your dependent till after 2 years, right? But then your dependent can actually seek a family visa. You know, like in other countries, for example in UK, skilled work visa, you just fill the dependent form on top that one, like that. This one you have to fill like a separate form. Maybe they call it somehow like family reunion visa or family clinic. They can't follow you based on that your normal visa. But then if they give you 2 years New Zealand visa, they'll give your family as a. In fact, when I read it, I was like, it's almost the same thing. It's almost the same thing, but I don't know if they have chicken. But they should said that they can't come on that your visa. Your family has to come on a separate visa. They call it family field visa. So you feel it like a group application. It's still the same thing to me, because this one is they are just speaking English. So maybe I think what they're trying to say is you cannot fill your family information inside that form. So it's normal thing. Even in the UK, you have skilled work visa, you have dependent visa. So what they're trying to say in layman's language is you have to get dependent visa, so you can come with your family. So so that will be all for now, and that's what the requirement. That's everything you need. And everything. Like I've told you, we've made the calculation that it is achievable. I'll put the link in my videos, so just make sure that you check it. And then that's all. So guys, in my next video I'm talking about jobs that you can easily get that is more than 80,000 New Zealand dollars. And then another thing I'll be checking is, what will I be checking, safe? Another thing I'll be checking is companies that is really recruiting foreigners, not just to use boju accredited to go, that they are really recruiting, that you now do a lot of, unfortunately, at this time. So guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Make sure to stay subscribed. So guys, make sure to stay subscribed. I'll see you in my next video. Thank you so much for watching. Bye. See you soon, guys.